Have you ever noticed how people defend their mistakes even when the evidence is right in front of them? How someone can clearly see that a habit is harming them, yet they continue doing it while giving reasons that don't fully make sense. This strange behavior is not stupidity, laziness, or ignorance. It is something much deeper and far more powerful. It is called cognitive dissonance, and it silently controls the way humans think, decide, believe, and act every single day. Once you truly understand it, you will start noticing it everywhere, in yourself and others, in society, and even in the systems that shape the world. Cognitive dissonance is the mental discomfort we experience when our beliefs, actions, or values contradict each other. The human brain desperately wants consistency. It wants to believe that I am a good person, I make smart decisions, and my beliefs are correct. But reality often challenges these ideas. When reality clashes with what we believe about ourselves, the brain feels psychological stress. That stress feels uncomfortable, almost painful, and the brain immediately looks for a way to reduce it. Unfortunately, the easiest way to reduce this discomfort is not by accepting the truth, but by changing the story we tell ourselves. That imagine someone who believes they are honest, but tells a lie to avoid trouble. This creates an internal conflict. Instead of admitting, I lied and that was wrong, the brain quickly jumps in with excuses like, it was just a small lie, or anyone would have done the same, or they deserved it. The behavior doesn't change, the belief doesn't change, but the explanation does. That explanation exists only to protect the person's self-image. This is cognitive dissonance working exactly as designed. The concept of cognitive dissonance was introduced in 1957 by psychologist Leon Festinger. His research revealed something deeply unsettling about human nature. He discovered that when people are confronted with information that proves they are wrong, they don't always change their beliefs. In many cases, they strengthen them. In one famous experiment, participants were asked to perform a boring task and then lie to others about how enjoyable it was. Some were paid $1, while others were paid $20. Surprisingly, those who were paid only $1 later convinced themselves that the task was actually interesting. Their brains couldn't accept the idea that they lied for such a small reward, so they changed their belief instead. This showed that the mind will rewrite reality to avoid discomfort. Cognitive dissonance is powerful because it threatens identity. Admitting you were wrong doesn't just mean changing an opinion. It can feel like attacking who you are. Humans build their identities around beliefs, choices, values, and past decisions. When one of those foundations is questioned, it feels like the ground beneath you is shaking. To protect itself, the brain chooses comfort over truth. It would rather live with a lie than face the emotional pain of being wrong. This is why cognitive dissonance appears so clearly in everyday life. Take smoking, for example. Most smokers are fully aware that smoking damages health and shortens life. The information is everywhere. Yet millions continue to smoke. Instead of changing their behavior, they change their thinking. They say things like, something has to kill you anyway, or my grandfather smoked and lived to 90, or stress is more dangerous than cigarettes. These justifications don't eliminate the risk, but they eliminate the discomfort of accepting the truth. The same pattern appears in toxic relationships. A person may know deep down that their partner treats them badly, disrespects them, or hurts them emotionally. Leaving would be the logical decision, but leaving would also mean admitting that they ignored red flags, wasted time, or made a poor choice. That realization is painful. To avoid it, the brain creates excuses. They're not always like this. They'll change, or at least I'm not alone. Staying becomes easier than facing the truth, even if it causes long-term suffering. Cognitive dissonance also shows up when people make bad financial decisions. Someone buys an expensive product that doesn't meet expectations. Instead of admitting regret, they defend it passionately. They convince themselves it was a smart purchase, criticize people who disagree, and exaggerate the product's benefits. This isn't about the product anymore. It's about protecting the ego. Admitting a mistake feels like admitting weakness. And the brain resists that at all costs. The human mind has several strategies for reducing cognitive dissonance, and it almost always chooses the easiest one. One option is to change the behavior, but that requires effort, responsibility, and discomfort. Another option is to change the belief, which is even harder because beliefs are tied to identity. The most common solution is to add justifications, excuses, or rationalizations. Another popular method is to ignore or deny information that challenges existing beliefs. This is why people avoid uncomfortable conversations, reject opposing views, and label contradictory evidence as fake or biased. Cognitive dissonance becomes even more dangerous when it operates on a large scale. In politics, people often support a leader or ideology as part of their identity. When that leader is involved in corruption or failure, supporters don't always reconsider their support. Instead, they justify it. They blame the media, accuse opponents, or minimize the issue. Admitting they were wrong would mean admitting that their judgment failed, and that threatens their sense of self. As a result, loyalty becomes stronger. Even when evidence becomes weaker, religion and belief systems can also trigger intense cognitive dissonance. When deeply held beliefs are questioned, people may react emotionally rather than logically. The discomfort is not just intellectual. It feels personal. Instead of examining the question, the brain perceives it as an attack. This explains why discussions about belief systems can quickly turn hostile. Cognitive dissonance transforms disagreement into threat. Social media has made cognitive dissonance stronger than ever. Algorithms are designed to show people content they already agree with. This creates echo chambers where beliefs are constantly reinforced and rarely challenged. When someone encounters an opposing view, it causes discomfort. Instead of engaging, people block, mute, ridicule, or attack. This behavior reduces dissonance instantly, but it also reduces understanding and critical thinking. Over time, people become more confident in beliefs they've never truly questioned. The danger of cognitive dissonance is not just that it keeps people wrong. It keeps them stuck. It prevents growth, learning, and self-improvement. It makes people vulnerable to manipulation. Advertisers, political strategists, and influencers understand how dissonance works. They create messages that align with existing beliefs and offer justifications instead of challenges. When someone already wants to believe something, they are easier to control. Overcoming cognitive dissonance is possible, but it requires courage. The first step is accepting discomfort. Growth does not feel good at first. Feeling uncomfortable is often a sign that you are learning something important. Instead of immediately rejecting information that challenges your beliefs, pause and sit with the discomfort. Ask yourself why it feels threatening. Often, the threat is not to truth, but to ego. The second step is learning to question your own beliefs. This does not mean doubting everything, but it does mean asking honest questions. What evidence supports this belief? What evidence contradicts it? If someone else held this belief, how would I evaluate it? This practice weakens the emotional grip of cognitive dissonance and strengthens rational thinking. Separating identity from belief is another powerful step. Being wrong does not mean you are stupid or weak. It means you are human. Intelligence is not about never being wrong. It is about being willing to change when evidence demands it. The strongest minds are not the most confident ones, but the most flexible ones. Seeking opposing viewpoints is also essential. Truth becomes stronger when tested. Lies become defensive. If a belief cannot survive questioning, it is worth re-examining. This does not mean accepting every opposing view, but it does mean listening without immediate rejection. The goal is understanding, not winning. Cognitive dissonance is not a flaw in the human brain. It is a survival mechanism. In ancient times, consistency helped humans function in groups and make quick decisions. But in the modern world, where information is abundant and complexity is high, this mechanism can become a trap. It can lock people into harmful habits, false beliefs, and emotional prisons without them even realizing it. The moment you become aware of cognitive dissonance, its power over you weakens. Awareness creates choice. Instead of automatically defending yourself, you can pause, reflect, and decide whether comfort or truth matters more in that moment. That pause is where growth begins. In the end, cognitive dissonance explains why people stay the same even when change is necessary. It explains why arguments rarely change minds and why people cling to beliefs even when they hurt them. But it also offers a path forward. By recognizing this pattern in your own thinking, you gain control over it. And control over your own mind is one of the most powerful forms of freedom a person can have. If this understanding changes the way you look at yourself or others, that means it's working. Truth often feels uncomfortable before it feels empowering. And the more willing you are to face that discomfort, the more clarity, growth, and strength you gain.